there guys, this is Obsidian Joe. Got another video for you today. This is coming from the DCUO test server. This is going to be showing you the damage of the new Survival Mode pet trinkets to see if they're actually going to be worth it. But I thought before we get into that, I should show you the actual reward vendors. So basically there's two vendors. One's going to be like an overall survival mode, and then one's going to be specific rewards just for this season. So the survival mode vendor has the new styles, which is basically this chromatic ember material. You can kind of see it here. That's the new material. Then the holographic material is right there. The holographic eyes are right there in the robots, and the holographic aura is the same concept. It's going to be that kind of green style. Actually, this is right, the holographic aura on that guy. We've got base items for this season, and then the bigger thing is all the old base items. So Demon Worm, that's the Trigon one. We've got OA Monitor, that's obviously from OA. You've got the Happiness Home Apocalypse ones, and you got the Foss Sunstone ones. So basically all the old base items come back to be able to be purchased, just not the styles. You can't get the old SM styles anymore. That's just going to be for base items. So the specific rewards from this season, the Henchman Shadow Werewolves, you can only basically, each one of these trinkets and pets basically is going to be locked behind completing a certain round of SM. That's the change for this season. So we've got the Shadow Werewolves, you have to beat round 5. The Green Crystal Turret, you have to beat round 10. The Shadow Snake Turret, you have to beat round 15. The Shadow Man-Bat Psychic, you have to beat round 20. And the Shadow Bat Trinket, you have to beat round 25. So once you've completed that round, then you would have the ability to purchase that with marks, which are these data chips that drop each time scaling. The higher the round is, the higher marks you get. So now that you're kind of taking a look at the vendors, let's get into see if these pet trinkets are actually going to be worth it. Okay, so we've got the breakdown here from the actual trinkets. We've got the Shadow Man-Bat. We didn't honestly expect the Psychic to do a lot of damage, 48k. The Henchman was 67k, which is usually about average. I'll do the comparison to all the other trinkets I've tested in a moment. I just wanted to break down this first. The Green Crystal. Now, the Green Crystal and the Shadow Snake, as you saw in the video, they work differently from every other trinket in the game. This is a new style of trinket. So basically, as soon as you summon it, it does heavy burst damage, but it only does burst damage for 10 seconds, and then it basically ends, and then you have to wait the full 120 seconds to get it back, as opposed to where like the Shadow Bat or the Seahorse does damage over a 60-second period of time. Same thing, LexCorp, Trinket, everything else. So it basically, instead of doing smaller damage over 60 seconds, it's heavy burst damage over 10 seconds. The drawback is wherever you place that trinket, wherever you summon it, it doesn't move. So think of it like totem. So say you're in like a hallway fight or something like that. You summon it at the beginning of the hallways, it does burst, or the tank yanks the ads away. The trinket's not going to follow you. It's going to be stuck in that position where like a Shadow Bat or a Boo or a Seahorse, etc. is going to follow you along. So just be mindful when you're using that. It's nice for certain. You'll see a lot of people in survival mode use the turrets just because it helps drop. Like in fights where you say you have to drop like the Icon suit from Deathstroke, instances where you have to do a lot of damage quickly. Then yes, a trinket like this is going to be a lot better in those situations because you have 100k, 120k, 178k damage in 10 seconds. So it's similar to like a supercharge almost. And so that was the Green Crystal there, 122k. The Shadow Snake Turret, which is like, a nice looking trinket actually, 178k. And then we get to the Shadow Bat, which is 219. So like I said before, it does damage for 10 seconds and then they basically disappear. see, as I said before as well, around 5, 10, 15, 20 lockouts and 25. So basically it brings us down to here. Obviously the Shadow Bat does a lot of damage. The Shadow Snake's turret is, decently better than the Green Crystal. That's still a 50k gap. And then obviously, Henchman and Uplink continue to suck. So how does that compare to everything else? Well, here we go here. So basically, I tested the trinkets all at CR262 because that's where all these trinkets are tested. I'm not retesting, 30 trinkets just at CR270. So obviously, if you're at 273, the damage is going to be higher, but it's still going to scale the same as everything else. It's not like this trinket's going to do more at 273 than it did at 262. It's all going to scale the same. So basically, the Shadowback uplink, it is higher than some of the other sidekicks, but marginally 45, 45, 44, 48. The henchmen are on the higher side compared to the backup. Riddler Goons, Joker, 58, 62. That's the 67. So it's certainly the highest henchman trinket, but still 67k damage is nowhere near what an actual other trinket could offer you. And then basically here's where we get to the kind of meat of the video. So the Green Crystal turret is about the same as the Collectorgist and Bat Drone, slightly less than Baby Boo, but it's better than Mrs. Boo and Boo Jr. And then obviously the LexCorp sidekick, Brainiac Pet, Mr. Boo. So the Green Crystal turret is certainly on the high side for damage, but and then the advantage is that it's a high burst. Then we've got the Shadow Snake turret that's actually stronger than Robot Sidekick Melee, Heartbreak, Baby Boo. So that's definitely on the high side. And then we've got the Seahorse, which we're already used to being very powerful. And then the Shadow Bat is actually even stronger than the Seahorse on average. So that's definitely, becomes basically the third best trinket in the game. You've got the Slayer Sunken Rune. That's going to be the Summer Event trinket, but that's only melee damage. So if you weren't in melee range the entire time, it does only 115k. So basically still the overall average between AoE, melee, and range. The Shadow Bat and the Seahorse still win out over it. But if you're in a strictly melee, regular bunch of adds, the rune is going to be a lot higher than everything else. And then obviously the 4 boos, the 3 boos and 4 boos will still be higher than everything else. But once again, that's limited to just using the boo utility belt. So it looks like it's definitely worth trying to get to round 25 on survival mode so you can get the Shadow Bat. Obviously, that's not going to be approachable for a lot of people, and they may be upset at that because obviously the Seahorse, anyone can get. The Shadow Snake turret, what was that? Shadow was around 15, so 15 is definitely doable. So I can see a lot more people getting the Shadow Snake and the Green Crystal as opposed to the Shadow Bat. So definitely the Shadow Bat is going to be worth it, but that's going to be a longer grind because that's 25 rounds and SM only goes to 30. So that's certainly going to be a heavily earned trinket where you're not going to see a lot of people, the average player, running that. So in the end, it's up to you to decide whether or not that damage is warranted on a lockout survival mode trinket. I can see it's certainly a change because obviously the survival mode's never had rewards like this before. It's usually been titles, styles, and base items, but now you're starting to get items that actually are actually helpful. It's not that much more damage than the Seahorse. Seahorse 203, this is 220, so like a 20k difference is not like earth shattering. As you can see, they're pretty close, like 193, 198, 208, 209, 206, and then it just had one nice 251. So it's certainly on average it's better, but it's very close to the Seahorse. So that's probably why they did that. Where, yes, the Shadow Bat has a chance to do more damage, but it's around 25. If you can't get around 25, the Seahorse any player can get. So you can just use that one instead. But that's the new trinkets tested, guys. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below.